Hi everyone, it's Mr. Bestwater, and today we're going to be taking a look at mortgages and your mortgage payments and how we can best make use of our money. Now in the last lesson, lesson 3, we talked about home equity, and we were looking at the mortgage schedules where you notice that as time went on and we moved down that table, the amount of money that you paid towards your debt would increase with each payment, just a little bit at first, and that amount gets bigger and bigger as time goes on. Okay, and so again, the advantage would be to pay the least amount of interest. You'd want to pay your debt off as quickly as possible. So we're all going to need some debt. We're going to take out a mortgage when we want to buy a home. And then what we want to do is try to pay it back as quickly as we can without putting ourselves into too much financial stress. But there are some advantages we can take to pay down. If we can eke it out a little bit more, we can make a significant savings over the life of the mortgage. And that's what we're going to look at today. All right, welcome back. It's Mr. Bestwater, and we're going to take a look at lesson 4 in home finances, where we're still talking about mortgages. All right, what I have handy here today is I have my amortization table, and we'll refer to that shortly. And I also have a month calendar for October 2020. Now you can grab almost any month, but if you have a calendar handy, so we can take a look at it and explore a little bit, the calendar will be very helpful for us today. Okay, so we'll back up a little bit and get ourselves to a place where we are familiar. Okay, now the key today is changing how often you make a mortgage payment, or if you're able to make additional payments in a year. It can make a big difference on the amount of interest. Remember, interest is that dollar value you have to pay to the bank in order to borrow the money. So we want to learn and explore ways to save money in interest. Okay, so last lesson, in lesson 3, we talked about open and closed mortgages. And open mortgage, you can make additional payments without paying a penalty, which means you'll pay your mortgage off sooner. In a closed mortgage, you cannot make additional payments. So one thing would be to have an open mortgage where you can make extra payments. Would be helpful if you might get a Christmas bonus or something like that, a productivity bonus, and you might use some of that money to pay off your mortgage a little more quickly. So let's start with this example. We're considering a mortgage of $130,000. The interest rate is 6.5% and it's amortized over 25 years. And so we're going to use the amortization table, 6.5% and 25 years, to find that value. So just double checking, 6.5%. So here's 6.5%. That's for 5 years, 10, 15, 20, and 25, and I see a value of 6.75. All right, so our value that we're looking for is 6.75, and that was for 25 years. I often just jot this down so I know what I looked at, and it was at 6.5%. We're going to multiply that by the amount of the mortgage, which is $130,000, and then we'll divide that product by 1,000. And that will give us our monthly mortgage payment. But for that, I need a calculator. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back with my calculator. So we're doing the calculation of 6.75 times 130,000 divided by 1,000 to calculate the monthly mortgage payment. And in this case, it's $877.50. So $877.50. That's per month. And this is common. People will set up a monthly mortgage schedule where they're going to pay off their mortgage month by month. Okay? Now, you might consider a few other options. Oh, before we go that, just so that we can have a comparison when we look at the other options. If I pay $877.50 to the bank every month, and I do this for 12 months, it will tabulate the amount that I need, or that I'm paying in a year. So times 12 means I'm paying $10,530 per year. And this way I have some kind of correspondence. I'm going to compare my values to this value here, $10,530 per year. Okay, some other options that can be considered when you're setting up your mortgage would be semi-monthly. Now, semi-monthly is 2 times a month. 2 times each month. I'm going to grab the calendar and say, well, in my October calendar, if I would, let's say, pay on the 1st of the month and then on the 15th of the month, that would be twice in a month, the 1st and the 15th. Every month in the calendar, January, February, March, all the way to December, has a 1st of the month and a 15th of the month. Your bank would let you set it up any other day. They could say the 15th and the last day. Some months have 30, some months have 31 as a last day. February has 28 or 29. You can set it up all kinds of ways, but it's twice a month. Now, when you pay twice each month, you're really not going to save a whole lot of money over the life of the mortgage. And the reason why that is you're going to pay half the monthly amount. If the monthly amount was $877.50, and if I divide that by 2, I would pay $438.75 twice each month. So I would pay $438.78, not 12 times, but because it's twice a month, I will pay it 24 times. And how much money are you paying over the course of the year? If I multiply this by 24, it looks like I have exactly the same amount, $530 per year. So compared to monthly, I'm paying no more money, and the only place where I'm getting an advantage is I'm paying off some of my interest sooner. So it saves very little over the life of the mortgage. I'm only paying, I'm paying half the amount twice as often, and it pays a little bit more interest, a little more quickly, and so it saves you a little bit of money. Now, the big saving one is this one right here, accelerated biweekly. This option can save you thousands of dollars in interest. This option is especially advantageous for those who get paid bi-weekly. That means every second week. So let's say you're the kind of person who has a job that gets paid every second Friday. That's actually quite common. You might choose to go for an accelerated bi-weekly payment plan. And here's why. The bi-weekly payment is calculated. Oh, it's calculated by dividing the initial monthly payment it looks like I have a typo, by 2, or into, however you want to say. We're going to cut it in half is really what we're doing. And that's the same kind of thing we did right over there. But since there are 52 weeks in a year, that means you will make 26 bi-weekly payments in a year by choosing the accelerated bi-weekly payment plan. Okay, so it's like being able to make one extra monthly payment each year, and that will make a significant difference. So if we think about this for a little bit, what are we going to do? We're going to take our monthly payment and we're going to divide it by 2. Okay, now for us, we know that that already is $877.50 divided by 2. And that is $438.75. We're going to pay that 26 times a year because we're doing the bi-weekly payments. What? How does that work? How is that different than semi-monthly? Okay. Well, if I get paid every Friday, here's a Friday, and this is October of 2020. Here's a Friday. I'm going to have a payday here, which means I'll make my monthly payment over here. Which means I'll make my mortgage payment right here, okay? Well, 2 weeks later is this Friday right here. I'll have a payday and I'll make my mortgage payment. And look at this one right here. There are 3 paydays in this month if I get paid on this type of cycle. Oh, that means instead of making 2 payments like I would with, sorry, I'm out of camera there. Instead of making 2 payments like I would with the semi-monthly payment, I'm actually going to make 3 payments, 1, 2, and 3 this month. That means I'm paying more money towards my debt, and I'm paying it off faster. Okay, now not every month is going to be like this. Many of the months you're going to only have 2 payments, but it's going to happen twice where you're going to have a third. Okay, so instead of making 24 payments, you're going to make 26, and that's what accelerated biweekly does. So instead of paying $438.75 twice in a month, sometimes I'll pay it 3 times in a month, and it ends up being 26 times per year. Okay? Well, at 26 times per year, well, how much am I paying? $438.75 times 26 is $11,407.50. $11,407.50 per year. Now, compared to semi-monthly, where I was paying $10,530, or just regular $10,530, I'm paying more with accelerated biweekly, which means I'm going to pay my debt off more quickly, which means I will save money and interest. Okay? That's an important piece. Now, that's where you're going to make the most significant change. Accelerated weekly, we can also do. Now remember, there are 52 weeks in a year. Okay, so the way accelerated weekly would work is I take my monthly payment, and instead of dividing it by 2, I will divide it by 4. Because there are approximately 4 weeks in a month. Not every month has exactly 4 weeks. Often there are 4.5 weeks. But if I take my monthly payment and I divide it by 4, I will calculate my weekly payment. So a quick calculation here, $877.50 divided by 4 makes $219.38. I'm going to round it there. $219.38. And that's going to happen every week. There are 52 weeks in a year. And so how much money will I pay in a year? $219.38 times 52 is $11,407.76. Yeah. Now that's a very similar number that we had. I better quickly write it down. $11,407.76 per year. Now, a person might choose this if they get paid weekly. So their job pays them every week. They might choose to set up their mortgage payments in a plan that is a weekly mortgage payment. And in this way, compared to monthly, they're going to pay more every year, which is fine because they'll pay their debt off sooner. Okay, so both of these, their values are very, very similar. But for both of these, it is like making one extra monthly payment and I'll squeeze the words in here, each year. Okay, so paying off your debt sooner and faster means you'll pay less dollars of interest and save you money. All right, a couple of other things that are options, and I'm just going to show them to you real quick. Item number 4, I'm on the top of page 2, is the one called doubling up. Some lending institutions, big language there for banks or credit unions, financial institutions, offer you a double up plan where you're allowed to pay double of your usual amount on one or more occasions during the year. Okay, and these extra payments go directly against the principal. There's no interest. It isn't broken apart into 2 pieces, interest and principal payment. They go directly to the principal. And again, that's much like being able to have an extra payment go straight towards your debt. Okay, another one is lump sum, like on the anniversary of your mortgage or the renewal date. You may be allowed to pay a lump sum, so whatever money you can scrape together, this goes directly to your principal. whatever money. Maybe you've gathered some Christmas bonuses or production bonuses, or maybe you've sold a small piece of property or something like that, and you're saying, hey, instead of buying something else, I'm going to quickly pay off some of my mortgage and save myself money in interest. Okay? Another way to save money and pay less interest is to shorten the amortization period. That means instead of having a mortgage that lasts for 25 years, you might try to shrink it down to 20 years. And so here's an example that we're going to do. The difference in interest over the life of a mortgage with a shorter amortization period. So I'm going to split this into two pieces here. And I'm going to say 25 years over here and 20 years over here. And we're going to use the example we started with. So the previous, on page 1, we had the example where we had $877.50 per month. What is the total amount of interest we're going to pay in those 25 years? Well, we're going to multiply that by 12 times in a year, because it's a monthly payment, and by 25 years. That's going to be the total amount that we're paying back. 877.5 times 12 times 25 is $263,250. Now that's the total amount that you're going to pay back to the bank, but you only borrowed $130,000. And so over the life of the mortgage, oops, I have my subtraction sign in the wrong place. Over the life of the mortgage, if we subtract the $130,000, you've paid $133,250 more than you borrowed. That is the interest, the dollar amount of interest. Well, let's quickly make a comparison to 20 years. So instead of amortizing over 25 years, let's see if we can do that in 20 years. Now in 20 years, we're going to suggest that the amount of, or the interest rate is staying the same, and that was 6.5%. Okay, so we'll go back to the amortization table and say 6.5. There's for 5 years, 10 years, 15, and 20. So it's 7.46. 7.46 times the $130,000 that you're borrowing, that's the amount of your mortgage, is going to be your monthly payment. Okay, so oops, I forgot to write divide by 1,000. I'll squeeze that in there. So 7.46 times 130,000 divided by 1,000 is $969.80 per month. Okay, first thing you'll notice is, whoa, look at that. I'm paying more money than I did over here each month. Yeah, that's true, because you're trying to pay more towards your principal. You're trying to pay more off so that you can use less time to pay it off. Let's see how this turns out. If I'm able to pay the $969.80 12 times a month, this time for 20 years instead of 25 years, how much money am I paying to the bank? So I still have my $969.80 there, times 12 times 20 is $232,752. That's what I'm paying back to the bank. And remember, I only borrowed $130,000. So when we subtract $130,000, we now see that the amount of interest I paid is $102,752. This is interest. Oops, I should cross my T. Okay, so making a comparison, we've saved about $30,000. Okay, well, $30,000 is a little bit of money. You can buy a pretty good car with that. Okay, so this is the advantage if you're able to pay off your debt as quickly as you can with as large payments as you can to save yourself interest over time. And it's not just a few dollars of interest. Over the life of the mortgage, about $30,000 of interest difference. Okay, in the last part of the video, I'm going to show you an online calculator where we can take another look at bi-weekly versus monthly using some technology. All right, we'll see you soon. Hi, and welcome back. I want to show you very briefly a time value money calculator to help you see a picture of how long it might take or how much shorter it might take to pay off a loan if you choose one of these other payment options. So I've gone to FN Calculator. I think the website address is in your notes. And if you open up this document, I'm going to grab the very first one, TVM Calculator. All right, so here we are. So let's say you have a mortgage of $130,000. And the way this program works is if you make it negative, here's the amount of debt you have, and that's why it's negative. And if you choose to make the monthly payment of, what was our monthly payment? Oh yeah, $877.50. And you want to pay it all off, zero. And the interest rate was 6.5%. The number of periods, because we're doing monthly, we're talking about how many months. And it says right here, we're choosing monthly. So if I click on periods here, it says 300. Well, 300 months, if I divide that by 12 months in a year, that's 25 years. That's what we expected. That's where we begin. Okay, let's say we go to the semi-monthly version. Now the semi-monthly version means we're just simply taking our $877.50 and cutting it in half. And if you look back on your notes from page 1, that was $438.75. Our future value, when we're done paying it off, we want zero debt. So that's why we're choosing zero. Again, 6.5%. And this time I'm just going to pull this down and say semi-monthly. And now if I click on this button called periods, it says 599. So it's just under. Well, in 25 years, that's 600 months. Oh, no, let me correct that. That's 600 half months. Yeah, so it's really not saving you a whole lot of time or money. But if we try the accelerated bi-weekly, okay? So in other words, bi-weekly means we're making that half-month payment, but we're going to do it 26 times a year, okay? So there's 26 periods in a year. So if I click on periods here, it's 540. But if you grab a calculator, 540 divided by 26 is 20.75. So it's between 20 and 21 years. Okay, I'm going to flip over to a Word document. Semi-monthly, about 600 semi-months, which equals 25 years. However, if you go accelerated bi-weekly, that turned out to be 540 bi-weeks, which equals 20.7576, about 77 years. Well, that's less than 21 years. Oops, 21 years. Ah! Okay, it's that important. 21 years. Well, that's 4 years you're free of mortgage. That's 4 years worth of interest if you stretch that out longer. You don't have to pay. So you save yourself money. You save yourself time. You're out of debt sooner. That's a bonus. All right. Should we try the weekly? See if that makes a big difference. All right. Let's try the weekly payments. So this was the half-month payment. Okay. If we went to the weekly payment, I think we did that calculation. That's at the bottom of page 1 where we said, our accelerated weekly payment was $219.38. Future value is 0, 6.5%, blah, 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 blah. And let's grab weekly. Okay, remember there's 52 weeks in a year. So whatever big number we get here, 1,080, we're going to divide that. I'm going to make it 1,081. Grab a calculator here on the side. 1,081 divided by, now we're doing weekly, divided by 52 weeks in a year is 20.788. So again, according to this, let's take off all caps, accelerated weekly. It's 1,081 weeks, or about 20.79 years. So I'm thinking maybe I had a round off error here at 540. Maybe it should have been 541. I'm going to go back and double check that real quick, just to make sure I didn't make too many mistakes. Anyways, I'll do that later. So you can see the difference between accelerated biweekly and accelerated weekly is very small. The big difference is going from the semi-monthly to the accelerated biweekly. That's going to be a big savings, almost 4 years. Well, actually, a little bit saves you a little bit more than 4 years of time. And as we already calculated, about $30,000 worth of interest over the life of this mortgage. So a lot of money. Okay, so those are good things to keep in mind when you're preparing a mortgage, or when you're getting ready to get involved in a mortgage, that you know these things ahead of time, because you want to save money. We all want to save money. All right, so that's it for that, and we will see you next time. See if I can figure out how to stop this thing. All right, until next time, bye-bye.